What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Millennials adulting. We'll get into that later. I'm Eve, and
Let's get into it now. We realize we don't talk a lot about millennials adulting as often as we thought we would. And maybe because that's how life is. Nothing goes as planned. And that is definitely millennials adulting. You just
for sure,
take what they give you. And
you get what you get, and you don't have a fit. At least that's what they try to teach in school, about life not being fair. But we do have a fix of sorts. We're working on it, though. So tonight we're probably not going to talk about family or any recipes or just anything like that, as much as we're definitely going to talk about what we tried to talk about last week. All of you guys are troopers. All of you who tuned in, I think we had record numbers for this channel. So I think that's pretty cool, especially through all the glitching. So no glitching today. Let's get right into it. Last we spoke. Oh, and today is October 15th, just in case anybody was wondering. But last we spoke, we were talking about Kamala and her interview with Mr. Withers, Mr. Withers on 60 Minutes, right? And since then, there's been a lot of conversation about these two different answers. So without further ado, let's see.
so before you do post it, let's make a point that Trump actually acknowledged this. And because of Trump, everyone was they just negated, or that's the problem too. Sometimes we get so caught up in who the messenger is. And so it was on multiple media outlets, especially African-American ones, where it was like, and then Trump was talking about how she said this, or even how she's not able to articulate herself and things like that. I don't necessarily know she has some health issues, but those are valid points. But because it came from Trump, everyone was like, oh no, have you seen yourself? Have you looked in the mirror? But it's like, but nah, he not. He is on to something.
It's definitely,
he's not lying. It's one thing. I know he's crazy as hell, but he's not lying. Like she did some weird shit is happening. But carry on.
It is definitely weird. Y'all, two sides, one bird. I don't think we've ever been so one-sided to make anybody legitimately think that we support either candidate. We support critical thinking, free thought, and making a wise decision once you have the information. But that's kind of where we are. The information keeps changing. So, I mean, even in this one interview, two answers.
We supply Israel with billions of dollars in military aid. Mm-hmm. And yet Prime Minister Netanyahu seems to be charting his own course. The Biden-Harris administration has pressed him to agree to a ceasefire. He's resisted. You urged him not to go into Lebanon. He went in anyway. He has promised to make Iran pay for the missile attack, and that has the potential of expanding the war. Does the U.S. have no sway over Prime Minister Netanyahu?
The aid that we have given Israel allowed Israel to defend itself against 200 ballistic missiles that were just meant to attack the Israelis and the people of Israel. And when we think about the threat that Hamas, Hezbollah presents, Iran, I think that it is without any question our imperative to do what we can to allow Israel to defend itself against those kinds of attacks. Now, the work that we do diplomatically with the leadership of Israel is an ongoing pursuit around making clear our principles, which include the need for humanitarian aid, the need for this war to end, the need for a deal to be done, which would release the hostages and create a ceasefire. And we're not going to stop in terms of putting that pressure on Israel and in the region, including Arab leaders.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
Do we have a real close ally in Prime Minister Netanyahu?
I think, with all due respect, the better question is, do we have an important alliance between the American people and the Israeli people? And the answer to that question is yes.
Okay. So, let's get us back up there. I think that, well, first of all, when you're being interviewed, how do you get to tell the interviewer, like, your question was okay, but here's a better question for you that I will answer because I'm more comfortable with my question than I am with your question. Like, but then I think that it's a silver tongue, right? So we're giving Israel money or weapons or both, but then we're standing with the people that it has nothing to do with the weapons. Is that when she speaks, sometimes it kind of sounds like Charlie Brown's teacher. So y'all are going to have to excuse me. It's a lot of word salad, at least on my interpreting end. But Marie, what'd you get out of that one response? Because I don't think that was, is that the first response or is that the second one?
That's the first one. So that's the one that they used. I wanted to think to highlight the one that they asked 60 Minutes not to air.
Here we go. Let's see. Oh, right. This is what we have because they are in the information hiding side of the game. It's not disseminating information anymore. No, we're going to.
And imagine like someone credible cooperating that.
We have done has resulted.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
I will say that man is talented because he gave her a lot of different outs. You guys, if you haven't watched the interview, I will absolutely tag it in the description of this video. But well, in a time where Kamala was getting all sorts of drug through the mud, y'all were dragging her for not taking any interviews. Then she's like, boom, call her daddy, boom, 60 Minutes, boom, the shade room, boom. Like, okay, all right.
But she declined the interview with the Times too recently, and I guess everyone's like, she can do what she wants, and it's like, no, actually, that's the thing. Her objective is she needs to be interviewed. She needs to be interviewed as often as possible. She needs interviews that feel like interviews.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, we're seeing too that honestly, that was the first interview that someone actually asked her anything that was challenging, or anything that was more, I guess, more direct. It wasn't like a meet and greet. She wasn't out with her homegirls, or
Right.
anything like that. You know, because I'm in my sorrow, or you know, I'm a Black woman. And
For sure.
Even
And I
this
think
idea that because someone's Black, they can talk to you a certain way.
That too. And I think that I think it surprised her. You know, everybody thought that, well, if it's a Black person interviewing her, then of course they're gonna, you know, give her the softball or the soft gloves. That interview that she did with Tim Walz, where I can't think of the interviewer's name, but the first one she did, where everybody's like, how is this a thing? But okay, yeah, you also chose the nominee. We didn't have a say. So I guess you're just doing whatever you want. But when she was asked about being black, and she's like, yeah, we're just not gonna go there. And the interviewer says, that's it, that's all you got. And that was pretty much it. I mean, she pushed back like this much. This Bill Withers, I think that's his last name. I hope I'm not messing this man's name up. He's pushed back very respectfully. And then what is it about 60 Minutes that it's a 22-minute interview? What's that about? Is 60 Minutes always a 20-minute interview?
It's 60 Minutes, but
like that's genius. You got a 60-minute time block and 40 minutes of commercial, 20 minutes of actual content. But yeah, so I think that this year, well, since we've had this channel, or at least talking like this on this channel, election season, we've come across a lot of inconsistencies. I think that it's because we're in the information sharing age that people think that they have the answer. If you're listening to this channel, then they got it, or you're listening to this channel, they got it. And both of these outlets, both of the sources, they can be very biased on one side or the other. And then it's like this race to find unbiased information so that we can make an actual decision about these things that are so important for us to decide on. But I feel like that's the hurdle. It's the biggest hurdle we have right now, because I think we do have people who give a damn, and I think we do have people who want to change things, but I don't think they know what to do. I mean, I've been called a Russian bot on a bunch of different platforms. Not really.
Are you working for the Kremlin?
I mean, clearly I must, because I'm a Trumper that doesn't support Trump. I mean, I think the guy is hilarious. I think that I like the way he talks sometimes. I like how he says millions and billions, but that's like gimmicky. I'm not gonna vote for him because I like how he talks and how he doesn't give a damn about.
Like, it might be funny to hang out with. He'll just say shit, and you're like you're wild as hell.
Right, like you wild, dude.
Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, you do. Everyone has that friend or those friends where you're like,
what's wrong with you?
And you're like, what did you say?
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think that people don't realize that, like, again, they can be a politician, but they're still a person. So there's certain things like,
That's why they tried to get Kamala on what's that guy's show? Jon Stewart. Is it Jon Stewart? One of those late night shows, and she had a beer with him. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So it was so awkward. I mean, I think she does drink beer on occasion. I think she does something else a little bit more frequently, but that's all my own humble, unprofessional opinion about her word salad situations. But I came across this video, or we came across this earlier. Marie, I don't know if you've seen this. You know who Joy Reid is, though, right?
Yeah.
All right. So she was basically calling everybody who doesn't agree with their side of things, disinformation bots.
And in many ways, the disinformation campaign is working. Base Republicans today believe everything from Democrats secretly manipulating the weather from a secret base in Alaska to Trump being incapable of losing this election. He's winning in a landslide. And some Democrats are starting to believe the disinformation too.
Sorry, gonna have to stop it there, because Marie, have you seen the polls?
I have seen the polls.
So go. What have you seen with regards to the polling?
So I've seen some polling where it looked like Kamala had a lead, and then it looks like now they're more closer in line. It's like almost 50-50, but that was what I've seen more recently.
No, yeah, I've seen the same thing. Either it's saying that they're tied, or it's saying that the lead that she has has gone down. She still has a little bit of a lead, but these are percentage points at this time.
But I think too, it's also their mishandling of these recent hurricanes. So it's, I mean, like going how they're like kind of when she went out to that place, when she went out to Asheville, I feel like things are happening right now, and it is impacting how people see them. I mean, no different than even some of their foreign policies or views. to me, Kamala seems like if anyone's going to have us in World War III, it would definitely be her. I do feel like that Trump's alliances, the way they line up for me, I don't think he cares about foreign policy as much, but more so the opportunity to trade and make money. I
Is
think
that a bad thing?
which no, it isn't a bad thing. So to me, I think that for him, I don't think he's interested in going to war. I think he's just interested in making friends per se.
Sure.
And that's like hence his relationship with Russia. Even like, you know, that thing that came out where he had sent what was
Putin,
it?
the COVID test or the yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. You know, too, we're not on screen, by the way.
Oh, whoops. Sorry, guys.
So thanks, Keish. So to me, he seems his interest is more in more domestic things than actual, which actually doesn't typically tie into a lot of typical Republican regimes.
Okay.
I do think that he would do stuff for Israel, but primarily he would do stuff for Israel because of the money involved in doing stuff for Israel. So again, I'm not voting for him. So let's be clear. However, he's been vocal about the fact that they do ask him for things and that he does give it to them. Now he says he can't give it to him, but at least he's honest. He says, I'm gonna give it to him, but just like not back to back because it's weird.
Look,
But like I gotta do a little stuff. I gotta move some shit around first. Then I'm gonna do this. Then I'm gonna do that. But he's gonna do it. But he's not doing it with the interest of, oh, I want to see greater Israel. He's doing it with, I want to line my pockets, which I can actually appreciate more. So I'm like, this person is cutting you a check. And because they're cutting you a check, they ask for something because it's okay to ask your politician for stuff. So Zionists have no problem asking their politician for things.
That's what the PACs are, you guys. That's
I
why.
mean, even if you think about it, APAC isn't very quiet. And the catch is too, it's like, not only like, are they asking for things, but they're a foreign nation asking for things, which actually seems questionable. It actually seems like something that we all should be questioning. They're also not registered as a foreign entity, which another thing we should be questioning. And I think that's the biggest thing, or even to when we have these conversations, is really to provoke thought, to make you ask questions like, well, and, you know, and then you put the stuff together yourself, or you can go do the research, or you can whatever. But I think that we make better decisions when we make informed decisions.
Speaking of, we got a question in the back channel. Your shirt, you care to go into it? It says, make Israel Palestine again.
Yeah. You know, it was just Indigenous People Day the other day. Palestinians are indigenous to the lands that they refuse to give up. We've been able to label them as terrorists because of the fact that they won't just take our shit laying down. They just won't let us seize their land and resources.
How dare those people not let us
die quickly?
Stuff.
You know, and I guess in the celebration of Indigenous people, because even too, that's the part, you know, for me, even right now, I'm like taking history classes and we're like in the beginning of, you know, I think we just covered like Mesoamerica and, you know, the indigenous people, and just to kind of like watch everything. It's like, actually, this is so the same, just more technology involved. But like, this is legitimately the same thing that like to this day, our government claims to apologize for. The same reason why we supplement certain programs for certain groups of people, because, oh, we feel bad. We took this from you, but we're going to keep taking from indigenous people. And that's like problematic to me. It almost is like, well, this class is a required class. It's a prerequisite or whatever for my degree plan. It's like, but why is it required if we not, like, if you're going to teach me something and there's no lesson there, like, what is the lesson?
That's a good question. History, I think when we study it, it is to ensure that we don't repeat things. But then what ends up happening is familiarity breeds contempt. You know, we've been desensitized to a lot of this stuff. If it's been happening for hundreds of years, then, well, it's been happening for hundreds of years. You know, and then you've got people like you or me who get into the class and we're learning the information like, hey, we can do something about this. Like, it doesn't actually have to be like this. But then we're around people who are like, but it's always been like this. What do you need to do something about it for? Indigenous Peoples Day, I think, is a good start, with regards to the country starting to acknowledge how things have been whitewashed. But it's a big old onion that we've got percolating over here, and as such, the indigenous people kind of had been pooing on the native blacks, like, since we kind of all decided that we were going to go our separate ways. Some people siding with America or the colonies at the time and against the native blacks, and then native blacks saying, hey, y'all go do your own thing, we're going to go over here and let y'all figure it out. And then flash forward to today, so everybody knows that Columbus didn't discover anything here as much as it's been there.
Like, he discovered like the Bahamas, what's known as today the modern day Bahamas. And even then he was actually sent back, and he was even briefly in prison when he was sent back due to like the way he was conducting himself while he was in the Americas or the West Indies or whatever. So it's very interesting how we create heroes or these people, and they're like, and then the irony though, there's been Vikings that came to America before them, but I guess it was like, well, he clocked it when we started the colonialism as far as building empires and taking shit.
Right.
He was like the more notable one of them all.
I mean, he wasn't the caveman from the snow. It's all about the optics of things. If people really knew that George Washington's teeth weren't made of wood, but were made from the teeth of his enslaved people, then they'd be like, whoa, that's kind of barbaric. It's a little much. Everybody knows about George Washington's wooden teeth, and then, oh shit, shell shock or wake up call. No, they were doing some really weird, bad, terroristic things, and then, like you said, nothing's really changed. It's just a new light has been given to these old practices.
Yes, and when we've invited certain groups of people in so they can participate in our supremacy. So now you get to be better than them. You get to be better than them, and you get to be. Oh, they're the sand niggers, and you're not. Like, it's like, so here's the thing. It's like, and that's the key part, is like everyone's so concerned about their own, like their position in this whole system or the way it's set up. And to be honest with you, if that was the case, like solely, like I lead a very privileged life. But that doesn't mean that I'm not aware that my privileges aren't at someone else's expense. It doesn't mean that even something came up recently where it's like, well, we would have to, even when we were talking about climate change recently. Well, I would actually pay a little more money for something that was ethically sustained. I'm willing to do that. But I also recognize, based off the data, it's really these businesses that have the biggest footprint. And until they stop operating the way they do, and I say that to say that I can do all the things, I can recycle, I can do this, but it's not enough for me to. We need these businesses to do that, because it's like the numbers are much bigger. But I'm also saying I would be willing to pay more. If it costs that company more, I would pick up that additional cost to ensure that, because at the end of the day, it's like, this shit is all great, but if we don't have somewhere to live,
then okay, what are we doing?
I can have the J's, the this, the that, the latest iPhone, all the things, Gucci, this, that. But if I don't have, like, if there's no planet,
I'm saying, if there's no trees, how you gonna breathe?
If we're all swimming and that we didn't build an ark because it's mass flooding, how does that, that doesn't help me, right? I need, it's like I need clean drinking water to live so I can enjoy these expensive things you want me to purchase. There's so many elements that it's like, in general, it's like all of it is an ecosystem. There's like the laws of, I guess, the laws of the land or the laws of nature too, to some degree. And what we see that imperialism, colonialism has constantly kind of, I guess, negated that or neglected that law.
Yeah, they've definitely tried to defy it, for sure.
And that's where the irony is, like when we say that, even climate change is human engineered. It is.
It is
colonialism.
But the Earth. See, it's the information share that the Earth has warming and cooling periods on its own. I mean, just as a result of it moving closer to the sun, away from the sun, and it's not just the seasons, right? But then, yeah, we can exacerbate the problem. I saw this one.
You deplete the ozone layer.
Well, look, they had this it's a simulated image of the Earth with how many satellites are around, and it was terrifying to know that our planet has like all these
Things in
debris.
orbit.
It looks like trash. Like we have a ring like Saturn of satellites, and I'm sorry, I don't want to conspiracy land tonight too much, but all, all that energy, that blue light, the technology, I don't know that that's good. It's infrared, it's microwave. We are cooking ourselves, just in the trying to be fast with everything. 5G, 6G, 10G, whatever the G
No,
is.
it's going to be our demise. And that's the irony. Something I seen the other week. It said, it was talking about they said something to the effect of, we lived on this land thousands of years. And they called us primitive, and they lived on the land for less than 200 years, and it's about to end. You've almost destroyed it. You've raped and pillaged. You've taken everything. Like that. Like that's the part where it's like people don't realize. Like it's not so much even too. It's not that I'm anti-capitalism. I am kind of just against a system that doesn't work after a while.
But that's the thing. You've got Taylor Swift telling everybody to be green, right? As she takes her multi-million-dollar jet an hour away. People who have the money to offset these costs because of how they say move and how they say vote and, the things that they say we should care about. But it's just really giving Oprah and The Rock asking for donations for what was it? Was it Hawaii? No, was it I don't know, some island that Oprah has property on, and they painted all the rooftop blue. Was it where?
Was it Maui?
It might have been, but it was a last year or the year before that, and it was Oprah and The Rock specifically, and they were saying, we need your donations because we want to help the people. And people watch the commercial like, don't y'all have billions of dollars? Like, okay, Rock, you might not have billions of dollars, but Oprah, what are you doing? What are we really doing here? And it's so strange that people will give. People will give because their favorite said, or people will vote because their favorite said, and you'll feel well informed because your favorite told you that you were doing the right thing. Look, let me show you more of this Joy Reid thing, because just outside of she tried to steal my blonde, I think I got a little bit more platinum than she did, but I felt some kind of way about what she was saying and how people asking questions are just being scapegoated into it's Trump and the Russians. Like, oh, okay, all right, Reid.
2, have you noticed how sharply the polls have shifted in Trump's favor over the last couple weeks? With these claims that Trump is surging with Black and Latino voters and leading in every single swing state, according to secret internal polls, despite all the Hitler talk. Yes, this race will be far too close, because unfortunately, we do have a fascist groundswell in parts of this country, mainly among white men, let's be clear, but in small pockets among Black and brown men too. This happens to be a global phenomenon as women become more economically independent and seek positions of power. But friend of the show, Simon Rosenberg, points out that just like in 2020 and 2022, dozens of right-wing polls have been dumped into the marketplace in the last few weeks, 12 in Pennsylvania alone. Those polls then swing the polling averages to the right, making Trump look strong and Kamala Harris look stalled.
Okay, so voting season. I thought that it was election day, right? At least when we grew up, it was election day. Now, after the experiments of 2020, we've got voting season. We've got weeks of early voting, and I guess you always could have mailed in your ballot, like if you weren't going to be in town or something like that, some kind of extenuating circumstance situation. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it hasn't been there, but in this amount, in this quantity. And then, like you said with the hurricanes earlier, I saw post offices demolished. I mean, completely just done. So any mail-in ballots that would have come from this area, it's not happening. Not like how they wanted it to happen. So, visiting the areas that have been impacted would serve you some good. But then what we showed y'all last week, or I think we tried to show you Kamala stuffing bags with deodorant and toothpaste and toothbrushes, and the lady is kind of testifying about how lonely it was to be in the midst of a emergent situation and there was nobody there. And then Kamala's like, oh yeah, nobody was there. No, bitch, nobody was there. Like, what? Okay. And then the fact that they said Mayorkas telling everybody that FEMA was running out of money was false news. But then another administrative assistant or admin from FEMA said, well, we've got enough money for now, but no, we're going to run out of money. Hurricane season just started. So people telling me specifically, and I don't know how you've been posting about domestic stuff as much as you're more globally aware than I am, but it's very strange. If FEMA says that we've got money for emergencies and they've been giving money to cities because they've been overrun with people who aren't from there, that seems like an emergency. I'm not one of those people who said FEMA shouldn't have gotten the money to help out. I think it's insane to have a city like Springfield with only 60,000 people or something like that, and then 20,000 people. How do you house them? How do you keep the streets safe? Where do you put them? Are they all homeless now? Like, now we got 20,000 homeless people. That's insane.
I mean, that's why I also think it should be illegal for governors like mine to be able to bus people into, I guess, states that they consider. They call that? What they call it? What they be doing? What they call it?
Sending them to where these people keep. This is the Taylor Swift thing. Like that. Oh, Keisha. Hey, Keisha. Is this Keisha? That's me, Keisha. That's a different Keisha.
That's you, Keisha.
Hey, girl. Look, you said the store's asking for donations. You're right. Anytime they've asked me to round up, fuck y'all. Respectfully, because it's not about them kids. I'm not saying fuck them kids, but I am saying that your billion-dollar corporation does not need me to round up anything.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, why? Fuck you. Why?
It might change, and we're gonna keep it moving. But they play on our heartstrings, Keisha. Like, for one, Black America, Black people, we move people to feel. I honestly believe that we are the moral compass in this country, and then maybe globally, but I don't know. I know about here though, because the people that are in charge, they talk a good game about beliefs and being right and being not wrong, but in real time they do some very unnatural things. They prescribe one of those scribes to
Prescribe to
going against nature, right? Like prescribe. There we go. And then we just have some common sense questions, like why is touchdown Timmy trying to put tampons in the boys' locker room? Like what's that about? And if it's to assist with the transitioning students or the change, I just way to make these people, to me, that would be super uncomfortable. If you still had a period and you was going to the boys' locker room, why wouldn't they single you out for using it? Like, you gonna go put your quarter in a little tampon machine and get a little tampon out or whatever.
Maybe get them beat up.
I don't know. What do you say?
Are you trying to get them beat up?
But that's what it seems like to me. I mean,
here's the variable though with that. Here's the catch with that. Is that someone transitioning like that? I don't know how comfortable at a certain point with the girl. It's all weird, right? It's such an ambiguous culture that we're living in, where it's all like kind of like, so would you want a boy in the girl's
bathroom, right?
Time, and then at the same time, it's like let's say this was the other way around. Would you want a
girl
boy,
with that.
trans man in the ladies' room?
Right.
And then even going back to, we see situations where adults, we've seen even women be sexually assaulted by said trans man. You know, and these things are rare. They don't happen often, but they do. It does poke like, well, damn, well, what, how would you, or two, just bring your own. What happened when we didn't supply that shit? Because for the longest, women didn't, those things
You
were
didn't
never
get those benefits. Wait a minute.
though, and sexist at the same time is that they didn't care about providing that when it was for women. Like, oh, but now that you're a man and you're having a period, we want to make sure that you got all your needs
Got
met.
your stuff.
You know, here's some free condoms too. Because again, they always care. Like, if you're a man, whatever, like it is, whatever's to it, you could do it. Ain't no rules. No one's legislating it.
Right.
Like, oh, we don't need to ask your wife. We'll get you as many as you want. We don't need to get her permission. You want to get a vasectomy? We don't need to get no permission. We'll do it.
But if you want to,
It doesn't matter if a woman may want to have kids with you in 10 years.
That part.
It's such a weird world we live in. It, you know, and so even so, segueing for 1 second off of that, you know, we talk about the freedoms and liberties in America that women have, and that some other countries that women don't have. But the irony is, like, globally, typically women just aren't safe in general. But even to say, oh, well, you live in America, and so you're like, well, you can wear your hair out. Well, thank you. I still can't do the thing. Like, so it's like Iran. You know, Iran is one of the few Arab countries that actually have done anything to stand up for Palestine. And then it's like, but you know, don't like them because you can't wear your hair out. And the thing is, while I don't agree with that, I also recognize that different cultures have a different moral structure, because it's the thing called ethnocentrism. And I'm not going to use someone else's culture based off of my own or my own understanding. Do I necessarily, would I want to live there? Probably. I like my hair being out.
Right.
But that being said, though, what's the, like, but it's like, but I'm still going to be like, killing people, women and children, can't wear your hair out. I'm gonna pick the can't wear my hair out country, because that's just not. I think that's something I could go without. You know, I could go without killing children. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's cool. Let me put my hair. Do we want to shave it? What do we want to do? Because again, but it's like always this state of, you're here with all these liberties, all these freedoms, and some of the things I'm starting to question, like, should we even be free to do? While other things we should be. And I think, again, that goes, like, there's a segue. Those things were connected, you know.
I got you. Some freedoms. Freedom. Okay, just kidding. Here we go. Watch this real quick. I think you're going to love it.
Sometimes you surprise me.
I'm Trump Wallens, and I'm running for president of these United States. My platform is simple. I'm going to open the border and let everybody in, and then snatch them up when they come across and send them back. I'm going to lower your taxes and put money back in your pocket. And I'm going to raise your other taxes and take that money back right out of that pocket. And I will ensure that every woman has the right to choose which man that they're going to listen to about what to do with their own bodies. Harub Wallace, we're not going back to take back America again.
Sorry, you guys, but I mean, it's part of the course, isn't it? You've got both sides telling you that the other side is the boogeyman, and then they're basically playing in the sandbox together.
And they're all the lesser of two evils. No, and that's the thing too, right? I think that's alarming to me. It's alarming to me to present that it's very dangerous rhetoric to say that one is the lesser of another evil, when you can look at a historical record, like even like we say about the Democrats, like they're killers too. You know, even to say, like, someone recently was like, well, it was a man, like, well, you know, they said what you can do with your body. Well, I'm 40 years old, baby. I'm probably not out here getting pregnant anyways. And again, and not that I don't think that a woman should have agency over their body, but if we're talking about agency over our bodies as well, why would you mandate a vaccine? That there was very, very minimal information. Because again, most vaccines, and again, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. My children have had vaccines. I've had meningitis vaccine. I've had plenty of vaccines, you know, because they were required. But understand something too. These vaccines, they spent $20, 30 years developing.
testing and
They didn't
developing.
spend 6 months and honestly, to me, that comes across as a desperate response. Like that. Woo, that was a reach. Like to mandate it. Say you cannot travel. You cannot do. People were not being able to get jobs. People were being let go from jobs from saying, "Hey, I don't want you to fucking stab me." And then what people don't realize in a country like America is that they also do test drugs on like military personnel because you're military property. So you're going to be the person they're going to see, like, let's see what this thing do. You know, when we're not doing it on blacks and children and other people, you know,
the other hired help. Right. You signed the dotted line.
We're not targeting other vulnerable populations.
Right.
Where then, you know, so to me, it's like, how is that different? Because even too, with the vaccine not being fully researched, there's other countries that are choosing not to suppress the information that's coming out after having utilized the vaccines. They've even moved away from the arbitration agreements, which means that they can sue these companies as well, which it was put that we weren't able to do that here in America. And again, because it was part of our agenda to roll that out on everyone. And so there's so many variables where it's like, well, how are these different? Okay, so I can't get an abortion, but you're telling me I need to put this chemical in my body.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it's like, and people see the nuance there. Well, you're both still trying to regulate my body just in different ways. Like, how do you want me to lean into the jab or the abortion? What alley would you like me to go to? Or again, even to the point where when we look at abortions were legalized too because it was dangerous. People were going to, like, you know, back alley doctors, all this stuff, right? So they criminal activity. And then even with the vaccines, then you got people faking cards and all this other, because again, you're making like fucked up laws where now people have to go out of their way to break that motherfucker. Now you're criminal, you want to live or whatever it was, you know. And that's really something to do. And I say, and it food for thought, because it's like legitimately people are saying this is the lesser two. Kamala Harris is not the lesser two evil. And in fact, if you think she's the lesser two evil, that's what actually makes her the most dangerous. I mean, if you ever, you know, I know y'all like church and God and all that stuff. You ever heard of David and Goliath?
I'm saying
there's a lot to underestimating someone and the power that it gives them. Like you assuming, well, they can't do this or they're not going to do that, or
that they're not going to. Right.
You know, even some people felt Obama was soft, but he wasn't soft on foreign policies. He wasn't soft on Muslims. He wasn't soft. And even too, it's like, and I say soft in which way? Because also he leaned very right. And that's why I will say that I feel that I felt like a lot of the tension towards him was for him being a black man, but he gave a lot of Republicans whatever they want. Democrats do that a lot. Like, if you want some shit done for Republicans, put a Democrat in office. They'll do it, because for some reason Republicans know how to just, like, they're not getting shit passed so they get the stuff they wanted. Obama kept Bush-era tax cuts. Obama also did the most drone strikes than any president ever in fucking history. Obama, what else did he do? He deported the most immigrants in history than any president. Like, he did a lot of things that a typical liberal or left-leaning person wouldn't necessarily agree with, but he did it very quietly, very smooth, very demure, very considerate of what his base would think of him. And so it's about being slick. So someone like Kamala, they're just slick. They doing shit. You're just like, oh, huh, or that, huh. And I actually think that sometimes when you put a minority in, whether they're black or a woman or whatever, I actually often think they're more eager to show their strengths, which like could lead us to World War III, the one that we're already on the brink of. But no, I do think that, like, I went to a tangent, but I really do think that Kamala Harris is very dangerous, or the idea that you think that she's innocent, or because all of this, oh, she's better than Trump, because too, everyone lacks critical thinking. Do you know that you can vote for somebody other than Trump and Kamala? Do you know that there's someone else on the ballot?
There are other people on the ballot, and that doesn't mean it's a vote for Trump or Kamala as much as it means that it's a vote for the person you voted for. Stupid. I'm so tired of people saying that, oh, you just voted for the other side by voting for the side.
But I also think if you think that, then you're already acknowledging that there is a problem with democracy.
Ooh.
And if you believe that, and you believe that's what that is, then you're already saying democracy is damaged. And then I need to ask you why that you would participate, or you're not standing up against a system that you've already just admitted that it's fucked up, that doesn't work. Because again, if a vote for Jill Stein is a vote for Trump, then that's not democracy anyways. And we can also cover we can also go ahead and cover the Electoral College once we get past this, because that needs to be abolished.
Oh, for sure. Oh, I got some stuff for you there.
Man, if you want to sit your biscuit head ass down somewhere, goofy looking motherfucker, like Slender Man looking motherfucking ass, like anybody trying to listen to you, bro? You didn't get the memo?
Essentially, Obama came out and had some words for Black men about, not supporting Kamala. And he kind of made it this sexist thing, or is it misogyny? Is that the word? He was making it seem like they didn't want to vote for her because she's a woman and not because she has zero policies that speak to them. And then after he got ran through the ringer, like what I had started to show, it's a lot of those videos. She comes out with her plan for Black men. And this is the same person who in 2019 said that she wasn't going to ever do anything specifically for Black people or any people, as much as, specific groups have definitely gotten things. The fact that Lebanon got millions and billions or millions and millions of dollars in the wake of Hurricane Helene. Hurricane Milton was on the coming up.
You like, but still,
but still, the American people have to come first at some point, or at least we have to prioritize these optics. At some point, she's tone deaf because, okay, we started a fire over there. We should put it out. But is this the time to publicize it? Maybe you just do it, and we talk about it later. But people understand that you have to support things full-heartedly with your chest. So that's kind of.
And I think that people neglect the fact that. So I want to say two things. I might forget, y'all. So thing one, when President Obama did speak to these Black men or whatever, it's the tone. I'm really tired of the lack of professionalism among Black people in politics. You think you can talk to me any kind of way? We're not on the block, baby. Even the idea that you lucky Michelle in here. What was Michelle going to do?
What was that supposed to do?
Whoop my ass. But there's this thing of you think you can talk to us, and the thing is, you wouldn't talk to a white person like that. So what makes you think that you're gonna roll your Black ass in here and talk to me like that? I find that unacceptable, and we continuously see it. And it's almost like you think, oh, because I'm Black. Nah, I'm actually a voter, bitch, and I go to work every day, and you're not going to handle me like that. It is so weird that again, so many people think because you Black, you should just be, well, your ancestors voted. No, my ancestors just wanted to defy certain things. My ancestors wanted the option. My ancestors fought for the option to vote. And then if we're going to be honest, y'all know my mama white. My ancestors also fought because they wasn't paying 2% taxes, okay? So understand something. Motherfuckers was going to get it how they live, period. That being said, the fact his tone, his demeanor, talking down, it kind of gave me some of those old Bill Cosby vibes when he'd be lecturing Black people, which another reason why I like his ass besides him just being what I think about him. But it's this constant thing where you think you're in a position to talk down to me or whatever. You're a war criminal, sir. You stood and shook me. You the one Black nation or African nation that was doing well. You had
killed him, murdered him. You
shook Gaddafi's hand, and then you had him murdered. And then in a book you said you regretted it. I bet you do now that you see Africans enslaved in Libya now.
More optics, you can say you feel bad now that you don't have any power to do anything about it. It's he had an interview with Ta-Nehisi Coates it was either right at the end of his presidency or right when he wasn't president anymore, and he talks a lot of, oh, I wish I coulda, woulda, shoulda. No, you had 8 whole years to make a damn difference, and you didn't do it. Not for us. You made lots of differences for other people.
He made a difference for Israel.
That's what I'm saying.
He gave them the biggest arms deal they've ever had from any fucking president. And the irony is that Netanyahu wouldn't even meet with him because he had criticized his treatment of Palestinians. And so, which I don't know, like, you don't want to meet with me, but I'm going to give you the most money any other president ever gave you towards arms. Like, to kill the people I just told you to stop fucking with, or I said that you baby shouldn't be killing. Like, probably shouldn't be killing them. Like, you probably should.
Here's some money and some weapons. And
like, what kind of whole move is that? Like, I'm like, well, you shouldn't do this, but here's the gun. But don't do it. Oh, you did it. Like, crazy.
It is. Look, the man didn't even steam press his suit. He rolled out of bed to talk to these men about themselves. I don't know if we need to play the whole
Why
thing.
do Black people think they can, like, what is that about?
You found out we're just making stuff up.
He's got his arms crossed.
Give him a talking to. And you sure want to put him in charge of anything? So, you know, I didn't mean to get so serious. But when I hear about this stuff, I start feeling like we don't have enough of a sense of what's at stake here. These aren't ordinary times, and these are not ordinary elections.
Let me say that.
What do you say?
I mean, they say that all the time. Every time they want
every election.
So
right?
our life is on the line, all our rights on the line. But you're like, our rights are being taken away right in front of you, motherfuckers.
Mm-hmm. That part. And you know, they say, well, he's in the same little discourse or thrashing. Look, he had the daddy look going.
No, it's this constant thing. Like, why do they feel like they can do that? Like, even the idea, like, it almost reminded me of somebody, like, I don't know about you, but you ever had your parents telling you to a relative, like, a relative you really don't, like, you barely even know me, like, and you don't even know what my parents are doing, but I have people going in this house. But are you really trying to lecture me? Like, because my dad told you, did he tell you, do he be telling you the shit he be doing? But it gave me, like, this, the problem is, it's like, I feel like that as much as we talk about unity and community, I think some of it is there's a lack of understanding what that really is or what that looks like. And I say that to say because we're all still tribal, right? And even though I can be, let's say we were in the continent of Africa, you not the same as me, I'm not the same as you, even if you're Senegalese or if I'm Yoruba or Nigerian, I'm Igbo or I'm from Mali, like we're not the same. So this idea too that we have this weird sense of community not within our community. And to be honest with you, I also say that to say like, well, that motherfucker live in Martha's Vineyard. What Black community is he a part of?
Well, you know, and Martha's Vineyard used to be Black, but then that still wasn't like
what niggas was he palling around with outside of Diddy? But no, let's just be honest. Black speak to me, and I like, who are you rolling with this Black? Like we over you like you're that uncle. Like if anything, you're that same person that got what you could get, and then you moved out.
That part.
And then now you want to come back and talk to me about whatever. No.
Well, that's a good point. I like that. That's that person who goes and does bigger and better and then comes back and chastises, scolds, and says, well, why don't you pull yourselves up by your bootstraps? And it's like, wait a minute. You got millions and millions of dollars. How about you help?
Yeah. Are you going to talk about what the things you did? We talk about what's at stake. Let's own the things that you've done. Like to me, even too, like I feel like, and this is where I was going when I said I had another thing. I know it often seems like I'm focused on more geopolitics, but understand too, if we weren't meddling, we'd be able to, like, we weren't doing those things, we would have things for here. And the irony is everyone loves talking about founding fathers. George Washington was heavy on don't be doing that shit. One, do not divide into parties. Do not divide by states and all this stuff. Oh, well, this state better. Do not do that. And then he also talked about foreign alliances, and he actually said, do not create allies. Yeah, let's trade with them motherfuckers, but let's We don't need to be a part of unnecessary. Everybody loves the founders and all that shit. So let's talk about these unnecessary wars we don't have to be in.
Like, I think that's a really good point.
Like having allies is dangerous. It's like we're constantly in something, or even to the fact that we feel like we want to be this. Like honestly, even with Russia, how is Russia really different from America?
Right. No, I don't think they are, as much as it's just we're the top dog.
All the banks own all their properties and shit, but they don't let the banks, I
don't know that they've got it like that over there. The dollar is so strange, and how money is over here, how we can be in debt to ourselves, how we can be in debt to specific people. And then, of course, countries can buy debt. That's been a thing since World War I, right? But then from there, it's well, who are you beholden to? And then, like you said, an ally means that if that person, entity, country has some problems, well, you've taken it. You are now the cosigner. And I don't know if your parents told you never co-sign anything for anybody, but mine did. And it's because you don't want to be responsible for that loan in the event the person defaults, right? And I like you, I love you, but I'm not paying your bills. But that's what we've done as Americans. So I like that I don't have to focus too much on the outside stuff because you kind of got it in the bag. I think it'll be very interesting, how class informs your worldview, learning more about the intricacies of some things that you already know, or even just challenging, what's being taught based off of what you know, because that is where we are. If you get information and it challenges your beliefs, you can get stuck in cognitive dissonance, or like I said earlier, familiarity breeds contempt. And you can be around people who have been wrong for so long, and because they've accepted it, it's almost like, well, shit, if they're not going to say anything about it, what am I going to say about it? But that's
like when you got that friend that's a hoe, but they've been a hoe so long, that's just such and such. You like, that's just how she is.
But that's where that's
everybody goes say that. But then that new person, you like, nah, because she's a hoe, blah blah. Like, but but that's different. Because I don't know, she's already my friend, and so I've just accepted this is just who she is. It is. I'm not really okay with it. I'm not okay with it. She's a good person. I know her heart. That being said, I have something funny that So, we talked about Russia. And even too, right now, it seems that like Russia and China, which I guess, the companies have, it is like being companies. A Freudian moment. The countries that, I guess we're competing with to some degree, which I'll still never fully understand, like how you're competing and you're not taking care of your own people. Like competing to me would be ensuring the literacy rate is high. Competing is ensuring that the median household income is a certain dollar amount. That would be competing. The Americans have the highest quality of life. That would be important for me. And that is important for a lot of Scandinavian countries. Let me put that out there.
Yeah, education, health, and peace of mind for sure.
And I say all that to say, we owe China about $850 billion. We also owe Russia over 100 million. Like, for real? Like, imagine you beefing with someone you owe that much money to and having such the niggerosity of that.
That's funny because it's like I saw this person who was giving
100 million ain't a lot of money though, just so you know, in comparison to
Wait, sorry?
The 100 million we owe Russia ain't really a lot of money in comparison.
In the grand scheme of things, no, because they just spent more than that on Lebanon recently. It's
imagine owing somebody that much money and then like using another country to like try to destroy believe their resources. Like, what if they called in their loan? Like, so look, so here's the thing. We're spending a lot of money with the Ukraine because even too, we've gotten past the point where Ukraine has successfully pushed Russia out of their territory, what used to be Russia in our lifetimes, and we can actually acknowledge really was Russia. There's maps and everything. It isn't just in the Bible, by the way. It was always used to be Russia. That
being back to like USSR times, you know. And
yeah, that being said, they've already pushed them out, and then we're still arming them. They're in Moscow. They're actually in Russia doing things now. Which, to be honest with you, someone made a valid point, and it very much is very consistent with the Afghans.
it's crazy you brought that up because Burkina Faso, country in Africa, they just killed like 600 civilians, Al Qaeda and other militant organizations trying to change the regime up, right? And they say that it was all military people, and then they're underreporting and then never reporting the right numbers. And it's like what you said about Israel and Palestine. If there's no body, how are you going to count this person? You know, if you just got a hand or, you know, a foot, or if they're digging the trenches before they go shoot up the little town or whatever, then, you know, who knows how many bodies, right? But it's like you said with the, imagine owing somebody some money and then you on Facebook taking pictures of you on vacation. Wait a minute, that looks a little problematic, but it's about the allyship. I saw this this interview that this Trump supporter was giving. I can't remember the dude's name. Y'all are gonna have to just bear with me, but he wasn't anybody special. It was just a person who was suing Trump, who had sued Trump, but they still were cordial. They still were able to do other business, even though it was like personal and social. And at the end of the day, the guy's like, you know, if this man that I was suing for all this money was still cool enough to let me and the wife, you know, take the plane to the funeral, like it was just, you know, family friend type of things. He's like, well, that's definitely the type of bipartisanship that you would want in the presidency. You know, a person who can get sued and not keep it or hold it over your head, like, oh, I'm not gonna be nice to you because you got me in court, you know?
I think that's weird, but I think honestly in the business world, they have a different perspective on that just in general, because you could, let's say you're an author and you've been set to write set amount of books, your publisher can sue you for not having the book, and you still got to come back. Either you got to give the money back or you got to come with the book, and it's neat personal business. And I think that's the thing too, where it takes being in that sort of environment for you to recognize, you know, the difference of having a business, like a business mindset, to know that even being sued isn't necessarily personal. When someone's trying to recruit their injuries or damages due to whatever, it's not personal. So I mean, that's a thing.
You're so right. You made me think about something. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to catch it before we get off this live, but things being personal versus business. Kamala, oh, I got it. I don't know if you saw this. I mean, it's old, but then it kind of made its little rounds on the different platforms. Oh shit, hold on, here we go.
When I started that work, I learned that with the swipe of my pen, I could charge someone with the lowest level offense. And because of the swipe of my pen, that person could be arrested. They could sit in jail for at least 48 hours. They could lose time from work, and their family maybe lose their job. They'd have to come out of their own pocket to help hire a lawyer. They'd lose standing in their community. All because of the swipe of my pen. Weeks later, I could dismiss the charges, but their life would forever be changed. So I learned at a very young age the power.
So to me, that doesn't sound like a person who is business oriented. It sounds like a person with a vendetta, like oh, if I feel some kind of way about you, I'm going to let you know it because I have the power to do it. You guys can Snopes check it or whatever, because Snopes is saying that, well, you guys are taking it out of context. She was talking. No, you guys go do your own research. I'm not trying to tell you how to feel as much as just what you heard and then how she's done things. I mean, she put mothers in jail for truancy. Did you see the one mom? The baby had, what is it called? Cerebral palsy. The little girl was legitimately sick with doctor's notes and all sorts of, the teachers knew, the prince, everybody knew. And the woman still got thrown in jail. And her baby was in the hospital for legitimate reasons. It's not like she was just skipping or playing hooky. So I'm like, yeah, that seems like an abuse of power. This person might be a little abusive when she gets in this position of power, but she's got us thinking that she doesn't make any decisions right now. Joe Biden done told us that she was instrumental in all of the decisions he's made. So I don't know what to believe.
So what I will say is, I do think that the clip was taken out of context. And again, y'all know I don't like that.
No, go do your own research. Yes.
I do think the clip was taken out of context. I do think that someone in that role needs to fully be aware of their power, of how it can operate.
Yes.
But and I will say this. I am very adamant on the fact that she had a very strong, tough on crime stance. She absolutely did. There were instances where people were left incarcerated longer due to the fact that they could be used as free profit. Now, here's the thing, though. She claimed she didn't know anything about it. I call bullshit. Because when things like that are going on, it's a culture thing.
Yeah.
Even the idea of doing that, it's a culture thing, right? So that being said, though, I will say that she has shifted. She had shifted in that time frame and led to a more progressive. But the thing is, you can't undo certain things, right? And that's why it's so important to be aware of this really earlier than whatever it was, because some of these things could have been avoided. But I'll also say, too, that also gives me a little bit of Republican stance. Like even in the state of Texas, we do have truancy. Your parents are fine. They
same here in Virginia, for sure.
Which is why I laugh, because it's like, or I find alarming in general, is that I'm starting to see a blurred line of what used to be left or right per se. And I'm seeing a lot of even policies that lean more towards the right than the left. And again, not that and for me, a lot of things I actually personally value are probably more moderate or even sometimes red. But I've never had like a candidate that was red that I would vote for. Like, I think I was actually willing to vote for John McCain. That didn't pan out for obvious reasons. But typically in the past, when I was younger, a young voter, I always voted blue because I voted in the interest of people that, I guess people that I felt like couldn't take care of themselves or didn't have the most vulnerable people.
Sharing.
Then I voted blue because primarily I do have a thing against impeding on someone's their rights, their personal rights. I would think really with the Republican values, you would assume since they're like for small government, then they really wouldn't be trying to regulate a woman's body. And this was before people were forcing me to get a jab, so I was definitely like, I always voted for Democrats, even if I didn't value their values, simply because it was like, I thought they were for all the programs, this, that. And, I strongly believe that. And then I started to kind of realize like the programs wasn't programming hard enough for me. Then even to the programs of where they were set up too, it was like they weren't really there to help give you a leg up. They actually were there to keep you there. And that's problematic to me.
And that brings me back to Kamala's plan for Black men. I mean, if you want a PPP loan and a blunt, then I would say that that's the candidate for you. But all Black people don't smoke weed. I know that it is an avenue to target us in another,
a very disrespectful avenue too, because fuck you for even assuming that. Yes, I have smoked weed, but I don't smoke weed.
But that's the thing, right? Like all niggas don't smoke weed. All niggas haven't been to jail, so those two things are not gonna be a deal breaker or a get me to the poll.
But these are the same people that were like offering people free food and shit like that for you to
fish sandwich.
Like that's like these. This is a pizza party group of people. We're gonna have pizza. You know, to come out. We're gonna have a cookout.
Your bonus at the end of the year is that pizza party for sure, and we're gonna pocket that bread that we made, and y'all are gonna eat it because it's benign neglect in the lowest form. But we're changing. Things are changing. I think that's the newsflash. It's that wasn't it Obama who said that we need a change, or we need to be the change, or some type of change, or maybe Kamala saying change. I don't know. But things are changing because people are not just accepting what's being given to them as much as we're gonna have to take a look at the voting records, at the polls. I mean, whoever wins, I
But
think
no
that's
one's used to
very
that. How
interesting.
people ask questions. Like that's the problem. That's what people are uncomfortable with. Like they're asking, like they're gonna find out they might be on to us.
But that's the thing, Marie.
That's like, no,
In Arizona, they found out this voting error of 98,000 people have been voting, but their citizenship hadn't been checked for 20 years. So Arizona said, all right, we're just going to let them vote. We're going to put it in law, let them vote. And then you've got like Virginia, who's being sued by the DOJ right now because they want to verify people's statuses. And then I guess it's a timing thing because you're doing it so close to the election day. And then Georgia's got the same thing, but Georgia said or what did Georgia say? Georgia said, "No, you shall not pass." He was kind of being all Gandalfy and saying that what we have, y'all not about to come and disrupt it. But at the end of the day, it's this fear-mongering tactic. One side is telling you that if you don't vote for us, then you're going to have all of these bad things happen. The other side is saying if you don't vote for us, then, well, you've already dealt with a bunch of bad stuff, so just keep eating it. And from Jill Stein, Cornel West to Kanye West, goddammit, neither one of these people that are on the ballot seem to really care about making sure that the people understand what all is going on. And if that's what you want in your politician, then that's going to have to be something that we are more loud about. Because when we vote as a block, or, you know, when people take the individualism out of it, like you've always said that I might not agree like this, but for the greater good of the people, you know, and that's really how people should be voting, you know, as a block versus as my own personal needs are more important than the group.
Yeah, that shit don't be lying on what my personal needs a lot. Like, yikes! That sounds like I'm gonna have to pay more in taxes. Some of y'all did hear that story, and that you sounded poor. You see those stats that Black men keep posting about how their actual income is only $45,000 a year or some shit like that, and only 15% have exceeded the. Which I'm like, why the fuck do y'all keep posting that? By the way, that's like a thing I want to cover. Like, are you saying, is this your excuse for not making a certain amount of money? Or are you saying we should be good? But I've heard this a lot lately, and as someone posted on my post, I made a post today about I got a recruiter reached out to me, and they wanted me to have like all this stuff for like a salary less than mine. And I mean, even like it was like a PhD, and I'm like, wait, what? Get the and then, you know, even me, you know, me being in school, one of my things is while I'm pursuing something I care about and I feel I'm walking in my purpose, it's still gonna make me some money. I'm not gonna be poor doing it. Like, and I'm not paying to go to college to make less money than what I make, or to not be able to afford to pay off whatever loans I may have to get, or to even if like it needs to make sense. If I spend $100,000 to go to school, I at least need to be making $150,000 or something. You know, like it needs to make sense. And for me, I'm like seeing, so it's like, well, I made this post, and so some guy shows up there and he's like, well, the data says that Black men. I'm like, first of all, what the fuck does it even have to do with Black men? There was no race or gender involved. What does it have to do? So I say that, so I guess they really do need Kamala's thing or whatever. I'm still not gonna vote for her ass. They need her.
You want loans? I'm telling you, you get that PPP forgivable loan, and then they're gonna be talking.
Or they don't forgive it and lock your ass up because that's part of their agenda. What I was gonna say though is Kamala also shifted on her Medicare stance. She wanted
Yes, she did.
government control, and then she moved to a private stance. That's actually very
Republican.
red.
Mm-hmm. But that's what she said. She has said out of her mouth that if she gets elected, she is going to ensure that she has a bipartisan cabinet. And a lot of Democrats are slamming her for it. Jill Stein's been slamming her for it because, how are you a Democrat running on all these red policies? And, how
She's about to roll out the whole goddamn Democrat or whole Republican regime real quick. Like if that, we're gonna also have. So we brought the general in to speak. We got the police officers. Like even the idea that you say that you care about the humanitarian effort, which wouldn't even be there if you weren't supplying bombs and ammunition. You had zero people, zero Palestinians, as if there isn't a Palestinian president in the United States, like presence in the United States of America, because there is. But you had zero of them come up there and speak. In fact, you asked them not to even come in. Anyone that even mentioned anything, and it's like so who's really running the country? Is it you or is it Israel?
And let's not act like you're not laying with them. No, just kidding. Okay, well, not really. Emhoff. Tonight, well, I hope you enjoy the political conversations because I think we're going to do something a little bit different in the upcoming weeks. We might try to split things up. Some of you guys really want the social side of things, and then we personally really like this other side, and so we want to give you what you want, kind of. But we also want to make sure that you're getting the medicine that you need, because adulting is knowing that the bitter is better, for your body. And well, from there, if you liked what you heard, hit the likes. Make sure you share the conversation and let people know that it's Tuesdays around this time if you want to catch us live. So until next time.
Bye.
Okay. That's all I was going to. What's up, everybody? It's Eve. Follow me on Twitter and YouTube for space recordings and special live programs. 2024, we're doing things a little different if you haven't peeped game by now. So yeah, this is your chance. You can do it now if you want. Hit the bell here on YouTube at JustEveB, or find me on X at Justice4Just_Us. That's JUSTICE 4 JUST_US. And if you feel so inclined, support my channel and the work we do over here. The Cash App and Patreon links are in the description. Black first.